Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Monday, March 19th, 2018. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's round of 32 action and look ahead to all the Sweet 16 matchups. And I'll recap yesterday's NBA action, as well as look ahead to tonight's slate of NBA games and pick the ESPN doubleheader, as well as looking at my fourth edition of my 2018 NFL mock draft. Yesterday's college results. A lot of interesting ones, a ton of upsets. I went 3-5 in my picks. I'll reveal or go over who I had winning each game on my podcast from yesterday as I go along. East Region, 2-seeded Purdue defeated 10-seeded Butler 76-73. In spite of Isaac Haas not playing, the Boilermakers advanced to the Sweet 16. Vincent Edwards put up 20 in the win. Keelan Martin put up 29 in defeat. Upset in the Midwest region, 11-seeded Syracuse defeated 3-seeded Michigan State 55-53. I had Michigan State on my podcast. I was wrong. I also had Purdue. I got that one right. In spite of the Haas injury, I did have Purdue. Tyus Battle put up 17 in the win for the Orange. Cassius Winston put up 15 in defeat for the Spartans. As for the second time in 3 seasons, the Orange go to the Sweet 16. And for the third straight season, the Spartans do not make the second weekend of the Big Dance. Big upset in the West region. 7-seeded Texas A&M absolutely destroyed number 2-seeded North Carolina 86-65. I had Carolina on the podcast. I was wrong. I also had Carolina winning the entire tournament, so there goes my bracket. TJ Starks put up 21 in the win, and Joel Berry in his final collegiate game put up 21 in defeat as the Aggies go to the Sweet 16. A stunner in the South region, 7-seeded Nevada came from the behind and defeated 2-seeded Cincinnati 75-73. They came back from 22 down for the win. Cody Martin put up 25 in the win. Jacob Evans put up 19 in defeat as the Wolfpack advanced to the Sweet 16. In the South region, 9-seeded Kansas State defeated 16-seeded UMBC by a score of 50-43. A great run for the Riveteers comes to an end as the Wildcats advance to the Sweet 16. Barry Brown put up 18 in the win and Jerry Sloughs put up 12 in defeat. As for the Riveters, let's see if they keep their coach, Ryan Odom, or does he go and take a bigger job, because I'm sure schools are going to be calling him for his availability now. As I mentioned, the Wildcats advanced to the Sweet 16. Stunner in the West region, 9-seeded Florida State came from behind and defeated 1-seeded Xavier 75-70. Great win for the Seminoles and Leonard Hamilton. Brian Angola put up 15 in the win, and J.P. Marsura put up 17 in defeat as the Seminoles advance to the Sweet 16. And now Chris Mack's name is going to be mentioned in rumors for most notably the Louisville job. Last game of Sunday night, 5-seeded West Virginia defeated 13-seeded Marshall 94-71 in the East region. I had West Virginia on the podcast. I was correct. Javon Carter put up 28 in the win. Adjudant Peneva put up 18 in defeat. Among my other picks, I had Xavier, I was wrong. Kansas State, I was right. Auburn, wrong. Ooh, I skipped that game. Speaking of Auburn, I was way off on this one as they were defeated 84-53 in the Battle of the Tigers as Clemson advances to the Sweet 16. Gabe DeVoe put up 22 in the win. Mustafa Haran put up 12 in defeat as Clemson wins the Battle of the Tigers and advances to the Sweet 16. As I mentioned, I had Auburn. I was wrong there. I had Cincinnati. I was wrong there. I mentioned I had Carolina. I was wrong. I had Michigan State. I was wrong, and I was correct with Purdue. Looking ahead to the Sweet 16, on Thursday you have 11-seeded Loyola Chicago against 7-seeded Nevada in the South region. That's the first game on CBS on Thursday night. The interesting storylines here is that Loyola Chicago and Nevada both provide some of the interesting characters of this tournament. Loyola Chicago has its 98-year-old good luck charm in Sister Jean, God bless her. And Nevada's head coach, Eric Musselman, wife Danielle and daughter Mariah have been interesting characters in this tournament, as well as his daughter Mariah has been interviewing some players in interviews throughout the tournament. The 7:30 game on TBS, you have 3-seeded Michigan against 7-seeded Texas A&M in the West region. That's interesting. A&M's coming off that fantastic win over Carolina. Michigan is coming off that close win over Houston, in which they had the win on the buzzer beater. And does Texas A&M have a letdown, or do they continue this great play and upset Michigan? Time will tell. The nightcap on Thursday night on CBS, you have 5-seeded Kentucky Wildcats against the 9-seeded Kansas State Wildcats. These two teams met in the 2014 round of 64. This is a South Region game. Battle of the Wildcats here. So that should be fun. And then in the West Region, you have, in the nightcap, 4-seeded Gonzaga against 9-seeded Florida State. We'll see if the Zags go to the Elite Eight again, or does Florida State go on another run and pick off another favorite to go to the Elite Eight. Friday's games. The first game on CBS in the Midwest region, you have Kansas hosting Clemson, or not hosting Clemson, but against Clemson. The Tigers replicate what they did to the Auburn Tigers, or do they have a letdown against a much better Kansas team? First game in the East region on TBS on Friday night, you have 1-seeded Villanova against 5-seeded West Virginia. Press Virginia came into full force at its peak against Marshall. Can Villanova stop it, or can West Virginia pull off a big upset? Time will tell. The nightcap Friday night on CBS in the Midwest region, you have an ACC battle between 2-seeded Duke and 11-seeded Syracuse. Mike Krzyzewski and Jim Boeheim, close friends. And Duke-Syracuse games are always interesting because it's ACC, two zone teams, and a great rivalry because of the coaches. And in the East region, you have, in the nightcap, 2-seeded Purdue against 3-seeded Texas Tech. This should be a fun game. Keenan Allen's back healthy. We'll see if Isaac Haas plays in that matchup. And I can't wait to see how these games fold out and see who makes the Elite Eight. Going to recap some NBA real quick before I get to my NFL mock draft. Some interesting results from Sunday, including the Oklahoma City Thunder going into Toronto and defeating the Raptors by a score of 132-125. Russell Westbrook has had 5 straight triple-doubles now. They snapped the Raptors' winning streak at 11. As I mentioned, Westbrook in his 5th straight triple-double. This time, 37 points, 14 assists, 13 rebounds. He's making an MVP case right now. DeMar DeRozan put up 24 in defeat. The Pelicans absolutely destroyed the Celtics by a score of 108-89. That is an impressive win for the Pelicans. Anthony Davis put up 34 points and 11 rebounds in the win. Jason Tatum put up 23 in defeat. The Celtics were shorthanded, so it's understandable. But great win for New Orleans. The Rockets defeated the Timberwolves 129-120. A good road win for the team with the best record in the NBA. James Harden, your MVP favorite, put up 34 points and 12 assists. Jeff Teague put up 23 in defeat. The Trailblazers defeated the Clippers by a score of 122-109 to extend their winning streak to 13. The Clippers hung around this game, but the Blazers pulled away late. Damian Lillard still playing great. He had 23 points in the win. Lou Williams put up 30 in defeat as Portland's winning streak extends to 13. Tonight's action on ESPN, you have the Bucks and the Cavaliers. News broke today that Tyronn Lue is taking a leave of absence due to health issues. Larry Drew will be the intern coach. I think the Cavs will play inspired for Lue and will pick up an important win over a Bucks team that's battling for playoff positioning as well as the Cavaliers. You have the Lakers and the Pacers tonight. We'll see if the Lakers play spoiler against a team that currently holds the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. Hornets at the 76ers. The 76ers are tied with the Pacers in the loss column. They need to take advantage of a team that's kind of in tank mode now. Nick Batum's out for the season. And then you have the Grizzlies, who are obviously tanking against the Nets, who don't own their first-round pick. You have a battle of tankers between the Bulls and the Knicks. And the Bulls are missing some key players such as Lauri Markkanen and Zach LaVine. So it would be only fitting if the Bulls lose this game. But we'll see. These results have been weird lately. And then you have a battle of two teams from separate conferences battling for playoff positioning in their respective conferences, and the Nuggets and the Heat. This is an important game for the Miami Heat at home against... I think the Nuggets are a better team than the Heat right now, but I think it's important if the Heat win this game at home because they're so bad on the road. In the nightcap of the ESPN doubleheader, you have the Warriors at the Spurs. This is a big game. No Kevin Durant or Stephen Curry or Klay Thompson for the Warriors tonight. So Draymond Green's going to be their best player on their court. So you know what? Give me the Spurs to win this game, led by LaMarcus Aldridge, to move up in the Western Conference standings. And you have the Pistons at the Kings. The Pistons have no reason to tank. They don't even own their pick. The Clippers have it in the Blake trade. The Kings are tanking. And the Pistons are just in trouble right now. And Stan Van Gundy's going to lose his job at the end of the season. I keep talking about the Pistons on my podcast too much. Going to look at the standings real quick in the NBA. Toronto's in first, Boston's in second, Cleveland's in third, Washington's in fourth, Indiana's in fifth. So Indiana's in a tie for the 4th seed with Washington, but Washington has the tiebreaker. Philadelphia's 6, Milwaukee 7, Miami 8, Detroit 9, Charlotte 10, New York 11, Chicago 12, Brooklyn 13, Orlando 14, Atlanta 15. Western Conference, Houston 1, Golden State 2, Portland 3, Oklahoma City 4, Utah 5, New Orleans 7, San Antonio 8, Minnesota 9, Denver 9, Clippers 10, Lakers 11, Sacramento 12, Dallas 13, Memphis 14, Phoenix 15. So that's your standings for right now, NBA-wise. Now I'm going to do my NFL mock draft. A lot of changes since I last did this, considering the free agency signings and trades. So here we go. Number 1, Cleveland Browns. Sam Darnold, quarterback, USC. This wasn't a change. I've had this pick all along. The Browns did trade for Tyrod Taylor, but he's not the long-term answer for a team that needs a long-term possible franchise quarterback for the future. Darnold could be that due to his leadership, good throwing arm, clutch play as he's shown at the collegiate level, and his athleticism. Number 2, New York Giants. Josh Rosen, quarterback, UCLA. Some mock drafts, including my previous one, had Big Blue taking Saquon Barkley here. But after the blockbuster Jets-Colts trade, something tells me that Dave Gettleman plans on taking Eli Manning's successor. Rosen is perhaps the safest bet in this draft in terms of quarterbacks due to his accuracy and refined throwing mechanics, but he does have concussion problems. Number 3, the New York Jets. They traded up to the spot with the Colts on Saturday. I have them taking Josh Allen, the quarterback from Wyoming. After missing out on Kirk Cousins, the Jets pivot and make a blockbuster trade to move up to 3. With Darnold and Rosen off the board, Allen is their choice. Allen has the most upside among the quarterbacks due to his athleticism, arm strength, and size, and draws comparisons to Carson Wentz. 4th seed Cleveland Browns, taking Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State. I'm sorry, the 4th pick, 4th seed. I don't know what I'm talking about. So Barkley to the Browns here in the mock draft. The Browns did sign Carlos Hyde in free agency, but there is still talk of the Browns taking Barkley first and the quarterback 4th. Barkley is the draft's best player, and he can do pretty much everything that a running back can do. 5-seeded Denver Broncos, or 5th pick. Baker Mayfield, quarterback, Oklahoma. Although they did sign Case Keenum in free agency, he's not the long-term answer at quarterback. The Broncos love Mayfield. He has a ton of potential with his gunslinger mentality, although due to his height and off-court antics, is compared to Johnny Manziel. 6th pick, Indianapolis Colts in the trade down with the Jets. Take Bradley Chubb, defensive end, North Carolina State. This was a home run trade for the Colts, and it would become a grand slam if they land either Chubb or Saquon Barkley here. Chubb will be a great fit in the Colts' 4-3 defense, and he's a 3-down back that would help them stop the likes of Deshaun Watson and Marcus Mariota within their division. 7th pick, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Minka Fitzpatrick, safety, Alabama. This would be a steal here for the Bucs, who have a bigger need for pass rusher, so instead they take Fitzpatrick to bolster their secondary. Fitzpatrick's versatility makes him special and perhaps the best defensive player in this draft. 8th pick, Chicago Bears. Quentin Nelson, guard, Notre Dame. The Bears have a need at edge rusher, and with Chubb off the board, they address their need at left guard, and Nelson fits the bill. Nelson seems like a sure thing and worthy of a top 10 pick and will help the Bears on the interior of the offensive line and will serve good for Mitch Trubisky. 9th pick, San Francisco 49ers, Roquan Smith, linebacker of Georgia. The Niners can use another linebacker to go with Reuben Foster, and Smith would be a great addition. Smith brings speed and athleticism that would be another dimension to this defense. 10th pick, Oakland Raiders, Tremaine Edmunds, linebacker, Virginia Tech. The Raiders' biggest need is at linebacker, and Edmunds would be a solid pick. Edmunds is 19 years old, and his athleticism would give the Silver and Blacks defense a different look. 11th pick, Miami Dolphins, Vita Vea, defensive tackle, Washington. Taking Vea here is a stretch, but the Dolphins have a major need at the position now that Ndamukong Suh has been released. Vea provides a massive presence in the middle and enough quickness to penetrate into the backfield on some third downs. 12th pick, Buffalo Bills, from the Cincinnati Bengals in the Cody Glenn trade from last week. Mason Rudolph, quarterback, Oklahoma State. The Bills are a strong candidate to trade up for a quarterback, but I don't do trades in my mock draft, so here I have them selecting Rudolph. He's an experienced pocket passer with a nice downfield touch, and the Bills would gladly take Rudolph here. 13th pick, Washington Redskins, Derwin James, strong safety, Florida State. Perhaps the best defensive playmaker in this draft, James is the new NFL prototype as a safety capable of producing against the run in both a man and zone coverage. FSU also used him as a pure edge rusher where he regularly pressured the quarterback. 14th pick, Green Bay Packers, Denzel Ward, cornerback, Ohio State. This would be a steal for the Packers, who have a need in the secondary. Ward isn't the biggest cornerback in the draft, but he can cover skills that are hard to come by in the league. 15th pick, Arizona Cardinals, Lamar Jackson, quarterback, Louisville. The Cards are another trade-up candidate, but here I have them selecting Jackson, who's a good decision-maker and the passer. The Cards know that Mike Lennon and Sam Bradford are not the long-term answers, and Jackson would be, in theory, be in a redshirt situation here, and the long-term foundation of Jackson and David Johnson is tough to pass up on if you are the Cardinals. 16th pick, Baltimore Ravens, Calvin Ridley, wide receiver, Alabama. The Ravens have lacked a big threat receiver for years now, and they get one here with Ridley, although they did sign John Brown and Michael Crabtree in free agency. Ridley brings a downfield speedy option on the outside that would bring a different look to the Ravens offense. 17. Los Angeles Chargers, Mike McGlinchey, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. This would be a great pick for the Chargers, who can use a boost to their offensive line. McGlinchey isn't that strong, but he's athletic and brings stability. 18. Seattle Seahawks, Josh Jackson, cornerback, Iowa. The Legion of Boom is dead. Richard Sherman has been released, and there's talks that they might trade away or release the likes of Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor. The Seahawks need youth and athleticism in their secondary, and Jackson can provide that. Jackson is an excellent man-to-man coverage and comes off a season in which he led the nation in interceptions. 19. Dallas Cowboys, Cortland Sutton, wide receiver, SMU. After reported failed pursuit of Sammy Watkins, the Cowboys decided to take Sutton here. Sutton put together back-to-back seasons of 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, and he scored 32 times in all 3 seasons with the Mustangs. 20, Detroit Lions, Taven Bryan, defensive tackle, Florida. The Lions have a need in their pass rush, so they take Bryan to pair with Ziggy Ansah. Bryan has drawn comparisons to J.J. Watt and create havoc all around the defensive line. 21, Cincinnati Bengals via the Buffalo Bills, Rashaan Evans, linebacker, Alabama. The Bengals can use a linebacker now with Vontaze Burfict's suspension to start the season amid his trade rumors. Evans brings an athletic presence who can fill multiple roles. He was more of an edge defender earlier in his career, and he pressured the quarterback on 67 of his 284 career rushes. However, he has also shown well in a more traditional role over the last 2 years at Alabama. 22, Buffalo Bills from the Kansas City Chiefs. Connor Williams, offensive tackle, Texas. After the training of Cody Glenn, the Bills have a need on the offensive line. William is coming off a knee injury, but he has a ton of upside and provides versatility. 23, Los Angeles Rams, Harold Landry, linebacker, Boston College. After trading away Robert Quinn, the Rams can use this pick to replace Quinn and improve their pass rush. Landry had a good but not great final season of college where he was projected a top 10 pick not that long ago. 24, Carolina Panthers, Will Hernandez, guard, UTEP. No-brainer pick here as the Panthers find their replacement for Andrew Norwell, who left in free agency. Hernandez is big and powerful, and he provides mobility, and the Panthers would like him. 25, Tennessee Titans, Leighton Vander Esch, linebacker, Boise State. Vander Esch is rising up many people's mock drafts of late. The Titans have a need at linebacker with Avery Williamson departing in free agency for the Jets, and Vander Esch would be a nice replacement who brings great athleticism, speed, and has incredible size and length. 26, Atlanta Falcons, Maurice Hurst, defensive tackle, Michigan. Hurst had a heart condition at the combine, and that shouldn't drop him out of the top 32 as the Falcons find the replacement for Dontari Poe. Hurst doesn't have the size that teams are generally looking for an interior defensive lineman, but his quickness more than makes up for that deficiency and makes him a particular great threat rushing the passer on third downs. 27, New Orleans Saints, Deron Payne, defensive tackle, Alabama. Nabbing Payne here would be a steal for a Saints team whose defense took a big step forward last year. Payne isn't a great pass rusher, but he's a great athlete who can be disruptive in the backfield. 28, Pittsburgh Steelers, Isaiah Oliver, cornerback, Colorado. Oliver has some good size and has the potential to be a solid pro. The Steelers don't necessarily have a need in the secondary, but Oliver would be a nice fit along with Artie Burns. 29, Jacksonville Jaguars, Christian Kirk, wide receiver, Texas A&M. Even after bringing back Marquise Lee and signing Dante Moncrief, the Jags have a need at receiver after losing a talent like Allen Robinson. Kirk provides stability for long plays, although he is short. He would be a nice weapon for Blake Bortles. 30, Minnesota Vikings, Colton Miller, offensive tackle, UCLA. Miller put together a great final season at the collegiate level and could end up becoming a starting tackle on this Vikings team protecting Kirk Cousins. Miller is raw but has the length and athleticism to succeed in the league. 31, New England Patriots, Orlando Brown, offensive tackle, Oklahoma. The Pats have a huge need at tackle now with Nate Solder's departure in free agency to the Giants. Brown could be a steal here, and it would be very Belichick of him to take the Brown here to protect Brady in his last few seasons in the league. 32, Philadelphia Eagles, James Washington, wide receiver, Oklahoma State. The Eagles have options here, and let's put Washington here. Washington is a big threat downfield that would give Carson Wentz another option along with Alshon Jeffrey after the trading of Torrey Smith. All right, that's my mock draft. Tomorrow I'll be doing an MLB preview podcast and going over some things about teams. I'm not going to do predictions necessarily, but I'll go over some key players for every team, go over some storylines and whatnot for the season. Wednesday, I will do my typical reviewing games podcast. I'll do that with tomorrow for the NBA for tonight. And then Thursday, maybe I'll do an NBA mock draft. I might do that on Wednesday. Who knows? So Wednesday or Thursday, NBA mock draft. Friday, I'll probably do something, but I can't think of what yet. I hope you guys have a nice day, everybody.